Good morning. Welcome to the Ag Lab, District Ag Lab. I am Michelle Newman Brooks, Program Manager of School Gardens. This is Dr. Henderson, teacher at King for Ag Lab 1 and 2 and others berry sciences. So we welcome Dr. Henderson to the Ag Lab within King High School. And she's a teacher here. We're going to talk to you today about hydroponics, aquaponics, and aeroponics. We're going to go through a few different scenarios in a series, so we're excited to show you about indoor controlled environment growing. And today we're going to talk about planting, getting ready to load your tower garden. And so what you need for that, and even though if you don't have a tower garden specifically that brand, there are other brands of aeroponic growing that you can utilize. And please reach out to gardenteam@cps.edu if you have any questions or comments or concerns about what products to use. For this purpose today, and Dr. Henderson is going to do all the work. Don't move out the camera because it's for you. We need a growing tray, which we've already set up here for you. Inside the growing tray are rock wool cubes here, and that have been soaking in water for about 24 hours, so they're nice and soft and pliable. You also need a spray bottle with plain water. We're going to be testing out a few different seeds here. So we have some large seeds and some small seeds that we're going to use for this demonstration so that you can see how to plant them differently. And here we have some vermiculite, which we'll be using for the planting as well. And then lastly, we have a dome that you'll use to cover it when you're done. Hopefully your classrooms are nice and warm because seeds like to germinate in warm climates. So if not, then we do have some alternatives that we will show you later if your room's a little chilly. So Dr. Henderson, which seed would you like to start planting first?
Let's start with the parsley.
Parsley. Okay, great. So parsley is a smaller seed. You want to go ahead and open that. And in these particular trays can hold about 14 rows across on the long end and 7 on the short end. So we've got a lot of seeds that we can plant here. So we're going to do rows of 2 with each seed. So in this one, we'll pour a few of them in your hand. So with spinach, all right, spot parsley, yes, it's a smaller seed there. And so when starting seeds, we'll thin these out later, but we'll do about 3 to 4 seeds per pod. So we're going to do these 2 rows. But first, before we do that, because this is such a smaller seed, and you can see here, the depth of the pod is a little bit, about a half an inch, which is a little bit too deep for that type of seed. The rule of thumb is twice the depth of the seed. So we're going to put a little bit of vermiculite into the pod beforehand. And here, I'll do some for you. So I'll start with the vermiculite, and then you can follow up with the seed and do about 4 for each one. And students can do this as well. So if you want to have your students start off and work in teams, one student put the vermiculite in while the other student puts the seeds in. It's great for manipulatives, for smaller age students to do groups. If you get too much vermiculite in there, as you can see I did, that's why we're using a spoon. You can just scoop it out. But like I was saying, it's great for manipulatives, for math, science, for depth. Any way you want to incorporate this into your regular classroom setting, any subject matter. And then while we've got Dr. Henderson's hands, we'll do a big seed. So this is Swiss chard, which is probably one of the larger seeds. And for this one, you do not need the vermiculite on the bottom. You could drop the seed directly into the pot. You good with that? So this is a larger seed. I'll show you here. You got a spinach seed in your hand. So you can see these are a little bit bigger. And we still, for these, we'll probably do like 2 per pod. Great. And then we're going to go back through and then top each one with vermiculite. So these 2 rows. And so rock wool is made of blown glass. These are great for the tower because they don't break down over time. And they're a great growing medium. They are not biodegradable, but they do work really well for the tower gardens. And you'll see in another video when we go to install them after they started why it's such a great product. But it's blown glass, so students handling this should wear gloves when they're wet because I've had shards of rock wool in my hand before. So be super careful when dealing with rock wool in its wet form. So now we have 2 rolls of planted. You remember which one was which? So you always mark, so it's a garden marker, it's waterproof. You always mark what you've planted, so the item and the date it was started. She's marked that here, parsley, planted 12/5, and then we'll just put that right in the middle of where it's planted. And then we'll do the same thing for the Swiss chard. And don't be afraid to reuse. This is the second time this one's being used. And it was rainbow chard then too.
Oh, wow.
Check that out. We could have just changed the date.
Now we know.
But feel free to reuse that. And then there we have it. We have our smaller seeds, remembering that we put the vermiculite on the bottom, plant the seeds on top of that, and then cover with the vermiculite again. And then here we planted the larger seeds directly into the pod and covered it with vermiculite. And the last thing we're going to do, Dr. Henderson's going to do, is just go ahead and spray those. And we always water in, no matter if we're planting in soil or if we're planting in rock wool. It's nice to get those seeds nice and wet so that it activates the seed, gets it started, and all the magic happens right in that little pod. Now, because we're planting different seeds in the same tray, they do all have different rates of germination. So you may see some sprout right away within 1 or 2 days, and some might take a little bit longer. So always be mindful to read the back of your seed packet or just do a little research about germination rates. But the back of your seed pack usually tells you how many days it takes to germinate and then days to maturity, which you'll realize later because we're not planting directly in soil, that these types of systems accelerate the rate of growth. But now for this one, because the dome is larger, the tag is larger, what we're going to do is just lay the seed in there for now, and then once it germinates, we can take it off. But please don't forget your dome. And then here we have a grow starter. We're going to bring that tray right over here. If you do not have one of these, a nice well-lit window under a heat mat would be comparable. And then you're just going to check on it every day. And there you go. It's planted. So that's how you plant in the trays for your hydroponic systems and aeroponic systems. Thank you so much for joining us today. Thank you, Dr. Henderson. It was a pleasure having you in the lab. Everybody have a great day.